39 years ago to this day, the 12th of October 1984, the IRA bombed the Grand Brighton Hotel during the Conservative Party conference. Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and members of the cabinet had been staying at the hotel for the conference. 5 people died in the explosion and 34 were injured. When researching the attack today, a BBC resource for students described the IRA as a terrorist organisation who targeted British troops with bombs and shootings. That seems pretty clear-cut then. So why is it now that the BBC is having such difficulty in calling the evil terrorist group which has used such despicable violence in Israel, Hamas, what it really is? A terrorist organisation. Our national broadcasting service seems to prefer to describe members of Hamas as militants, insurgents and attackers. Militant simply means someone who is engaged in warfare. An insurgent is someone fighting against a government or invading force. The definition of a terrorist, though, is a person who uses unlawful violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. This is what has happened. Hamas has killed children. Hamas is a terrorist group, and describing it as anything else is indefensible. In a letter to the chairman of Ofcom yesterday evening, 4 top lawyers rightly pointed out that in an amendment to the Terrorism Act in 2021, His Majesty's government legally recognised Hamas as a prescribed terrorist organisation. According to the BBC's own impartiality guidance, due impartiality does not require absolute neutrality on every issue or detachment from fundamental democratic principles such as the rule of law. There really is no excuse for this shameful fight to apply a gloss to evil. BBC journalist John Simpson said in a message yesterday that it wasn't the BBC's job to tell people who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. The BBC didn't seem too worried about making those kind of delicate distinctions when in the past year alone articles on its website explicitly used the word terrorist in headlines reporting the death of a terrorist in Mozambique and a court case involving terrorism charges in Sheffield. When our apolitical sovereign and the Prince of Wales are able to describe Hamas as what it is, a terrorist organisation, it is appalling that the BBC has the audacity to hide behind the ghastly weasel words of its own patronising style guide, which, of course, it writes itself. As one of my panellists this evening, Henry Hill, wrote in Conservative Home this week, in treating the Israel-Palestine conflict as a special case, latent anti-Semitism begins to manifest itself. If the corporation is perfectly happy to use the word terrorist for other attacks in other places, we can only conclude the reluctance to condemn Hamas reveals its lack of a moral compass. In failing to call Hamas exactly what it really is, the BBC loses its value of impartiality and becomes partial on behalf of evildoers. As always, I want to hear from you. mailmog@gbnews.com.